In this lesson we're going to look at neutralization. Now, neutralization occurs when an acid cancels the effect of an alkali, or vice versa. So in this diagram below we have an acid and we have an alkali. Remember that acids produce ions called hydrogen ions, which look like this. We have an H and a positive charge, and we're going to represent this acid by symbolically introducing, say, 10 hydrogen ions. Now, the alkali contains ions called hydroxide ions, which look like this. We have an O and an H, and these have a negative charge. And as with the acid, we're going to introduce this time 10 hydroxide ions to our alkali. Now, what happens when we add this acid to the alkali? Well, each hydrogen ion pairs up with a hydroxide ion and forms a new substance, and that new substance is harmless. What is that substance? Well, we have an H plus joining on with an OH minus, so we can write that H OH, and you'll notice that the plus and the minus cancel each other out, so that produces a particle that is neutral, neither positive or negative. And if we rewrite this, well, we've got two hydrogens, so we can rewrite that as H and then a little 2 down here. That means two hydrogens and an O, and you'll immediately recognize that that is H2O, which is water. So when a hydroxide ion cancels a hydrogen ion, water is produced, which is neutral and harmless. These neutralization reactions can be very useful in a number of situations. Now, most of you at some time in your life will have been stung by one of these 4 living organisms. We've got a bee, a red ant. They don't actually sting, but they bite. Okay, stinging nettles, or wasps. Now, the bee, red ant and stinging nettle, they all inject into your skin a type of acid, and that can be quite unpleasant. So if you get stung by these, then you want to neutralize the acid with an alkali. And these are 3 common substances that you might find in your kitchen, and 2 of these are alkalis. So to neutralize the sting in these cases, you would use, for example, baking powder. You could make a paste with baking powder by adding baking powder to water and then rubbing that gently into the sting, or something a little bit stronger, perhaps in the case of a bee sting, which can be really nasty. You might use ammonia water, but you need to make sure that you have an adult with you if you do that. Yeah. So ammonia is a lot stronger alkali than baking powder. Now, in the case of a wasp sting, well, wasp stings are alkaline; they're not acid. So in order to neutralize that, you're going to need an acid. Typically, vinegar would be useful in that case, or something a little bit stronger, maybe lime juice or lemon juice, to neutralize the sting of a wasp. Now, neutralization reactions are also useful for curing acid indigestion. When we digest food, our stomach lining introduces an acid into the stomach. In fact, that acid is hydrochloric acid, so it's quite a strong acid. And if we eat too much food, particularly meat, then we make our stomach work overtime, and it produces too much acid, and that can produce very uncomfortable, unpleasant feelings. Now, in order to counteract that excess acid produced, we need to neutralize it, and we will neutralize it with indigestion tablets. So indigestion tablets are always alkaline. Now, one substance that we can also use is one called milk of magnesia, and the chemical name for milk of magnesia is Magnesium Hydroxide. So that's an alkali, and you can see in the watch and learn section under acids and alkalis, you can see how we can make magnesium hydroxide starting off with magnesium, and that this will typically have a pH of around about 9 or 10. and again is useful for neutralizing the excess acid produced when you have acid indigestion.